Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Crown and today we are going to have some more stories that I hope that you will enjoy. But before we start, it will be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now, without further ado, let's go! First story. When I do this it hurts, immediately does it, then gets shocked when I pass out. So this happened yesterday and I'm still shook. Basically, our school had an award ceremony for our sports team. Our school is well known for being very athletically competitive, going to states and regionals and such. Please note that I am 13, weigh 31 kilograms and I'm really super small. So after an excruciating amount of time sitting on concrete in my own world, everyone started to get up and take photos with family and friends, with their medals and ribbons and stuff. Me and my friends found each other. Important to note, we all were standing sorta close to the kids receiving stuff, so we were easily spotted. And after a while of chatting, a super tall boy wearing like 4 ribbons walks up to me and awkwardly asks if he can pick me up. Not uncommon for short people to hear, because he's curious or something, I don't know. Anyway, this is how the conversation went. Hey, I don't mean to be rude, but can I pick you up? Oh, sorry, I usually say yes, but I have a bit of a health problem. His entitled mother interrupts. What do you mean no? She put emphasis on the O for some reason. My sweet boy just wants to lift you. It is not inappropriate. So I currently have a mystery infection in my lungs. I've been in and out of hospital and doctors are stumped by it. Anyway, being lifted or laying with my head lower than my legs stops me from breathing and occasionally it just gets really bad. Even when I'm not doing anything, even when I'm sleeping. And because I'm really skinny, I can feel my bones moving on each other. Can't even hear it sometimes, so I get cramped pretty easily. I'm perfectly healthy, I just have a really fast metabolism. I say, oh no, it is not inappropriate, I just have a lung problem right now and that... Oh, stop winging. You're lying, and I know it. Mom, please stop, it's okay, she just said no and I just... No, this spoiled little witch should let you pick her up. It is not a big thing to ask. She then reaches for me, in which my friends intervene. One of my friends says, she's not lying, she's been in hospital, plus it's none of your business. And my other friend adds, yeah, you are literally trying to grab a minor. She interrupts again and wouldn't let anyone finish their sentences. Oh, don't give me that. I know she's lying. If she was so sick, she wouldn't be here. And then this witch literally pushed past my absolutely amazing friends and grabs me by the bottom of my ribs. Now this may be okay for other people, but, like I mentioned, lung problems and weight problems. So when she grabbed my ribs, there was a thin layer of skin between her and my bone. She then lifts me up, in which I flail in agony. God, the pain! Not only was she crushing me, I just couldn't breathe. Then she spouts, see, you're lying. Stop screaming, I am not hurting you. And that's all I remember before passing out. Other than my friends freaking losing their minds, screaming for her to drop me, and literally an entire hall of people turning to look at my bone flesh sack flailing in the air. Anyway, I wake up with OFN leaning over me with my spacer, the mask they used to give me my Ventolin, and the crazy lady in cuffs for assault on a minor. Turns out my lungs literally stopped for around 5 seconds, and I turned completely blue. Anyway, I got tested in the back of the ambulance and had a fun talk with the paramedics, telling them about this crazy witch, and they laughed and said I should press charges. I am definitely pressing charges. That lady could have murdered me. So yeah, I'm in hospital right now. Turns out I have one dislocated rib. The bottom rib where she grabbed me got pushed under the rest, which is why my lungs stopped for a bit. I don't know what is gonna happen. We will definitely charge her 100%. but I'm gonna try and avoid being too involved because it's midterm right now and I need to get through high school. Next story. The entitled parent threatens to call the cops on me, demands I give up my front lawn to her children to use, and let her use my Porsche before having a meltdown. Okay, so this was a while ago, but bear with me. So during the COVID lockdown in my home country, I was fortunate enough not to get laid off. However, I was one of those people who had to work from home 5 days a week for 8 hours a day. Now usually I'm able to stand looking at a computer screen for a good few hours, as there will be breaks in between due to meetings as such. After 8 hours of looking at my computer, my eyes were pretty sore, and I would spend my evenings sitting outside the front of my house. I am quite lucky that I have a really nice scenic view from my front porch. My house is on a bit of a hill. So sitting outside looking at the city and the bay while listening to the wind going through the trees and the birds singing was really therapeutic for me. After having spent 8 hours inside with limited sunlight or human contact, I live with one other person who's an essential worker at the hospital. We said about 150 words to each other the entire lockdown. Probably about 2 weeks into the lockdown, I was sitting outside admiring the sun setting over the city. I'll admit, I was zoned out as I had a couple of beers before going outside. I was just in my own little world when this woman came storming up to me on my Porsche. "What do you think you're doing?" "Huh? What?" Blinking and shaking my head to get back into the world.
"Oh my god, you have gotta be kidding me. You're high and you're watching my children, you pervert."
"What? No, I'm not high. Wait, what are your kids doing on my front lawn?"
"Well, you should know. They are playing and they were having great fun. And I was coming out to sit up here and watch them. But then you came out to watch them, so go back inside now, before I call the cops."
"Wait, you were going to sit on my Porsche?"
"It is not yours. It's the public's."
"Okay, no. You are on my property. Your kids are on my property. You cannot call the cops on anyone but yourself for trespassing and breaking social distancing, so please, go away."
"No, they are not trespassing. They are allowed to use this area and it's not yours. It is the public's. So for the second time, get inside now before I call the police."
Okay, 1. Do not yell at me again. 2. Tell your kids to get off my property. And 3. Call the cops. Go on, I dare you. Now screaming, she says,
"This man is a pervert. He's come onto my property and he's watching my children. And he threatened me. Someone call the police. Help!"
My neighbor, a massive islander dude who came running out of his house to see what was going on. He says, "What the? Oh hey mate, who is this person?" Honestly, I have no clue. The entitled mother still screaming,
"He just grabbed me. This man and his friend are trying to rape me. Help me. Call the police."
By now her children are all crying and she's on the ground, crawling away as if I'd just thrown her off the Porsche. My neighbor tells me, "Dude, what have I told you about keeping yourself away from crazy witches?" I wish there was more of a story here, man, but I literally don't know who this woman is. She continued to scream and a few more neighbors came out to see what was happening. None of us recognized this lady and she clearly didn't live locally. The cops did, however, show up due to my neighbor's partner calling the police. The entitled mother screams when the cops arrive and runs over to them.
"Help me! He's trying to kill me!"
And the cops immediately thought something happened and that I was the instigator. Honestly, I don't blame them for doing their job, but I was scared as hell when they pulled their tasers on me. My neighbor and his partner thankfully were able to talk to the cop who came to me. So I was able to get back up off the ground. The cop asks me, "Do you know this lady?" She was still screaming in the arms of another officer with her kids crying. "No, I do not. She just came up to me on my Porsche and started yelling at me. I don't know who the hell she is." Okay, look. Then the entitled mother interrupts the cop.
"He tried to assault me. He grabbed me."
and now she points to my neighbor,
and he held me down.
The cop says, I see a camera near your front door. Can you pull the footage because otherwise, I'm going to have to take you to the station to answer some questions. Your neighbor as well. Oh, you're kidding me. My neighbor says to him, it is that or the station. She's making some pretty serious accusations here. I took the cop inside, and it took me about 2 seconds to pull the camera footage I had of my front porch and lawn. It showed me going outside and sitting there for about 20 minutes before the kids arrived and started playing on my lawn, and then the lady coming up to me screaming and faking everything. The cop says, okay, we will be back later because we will probably need to get a copy of it. And I tell him, just get her and her kids off my property please. No problem. Careful with the drinking. It's easy at the moment to let go. The cop went back to the entitled mother and told her that she had to leave, to which she went absolutely crazy, and she accused the cop, who was a guy, of being sexist for not believing her a real victim of assault. One of her kids then kicked the cop, and another jumped onto the hood of their car and started jumping up and down on it while he just screeched. When the cop's partner grabbed the kid and pulled him out of the car, the entitled mother threw a punch and then started kicking the cop when he was down, while screaming at him for assaulting her kid. And it felt pretty good seeing her getting tasered. And it felt really good seeing her get tasered. 2 more cop cars turned up, each with 2 officers. She got taken away still screaming, and her kids got taken into care. I spent the rest of that night sitting near the fence with my neighbor on the other side, having some drinks, talking about what had just happened. We had to give statements about it, and I made a copy of the camera footage. Thankfully, the camera angle showed the cop being assaulted and the kid jumping up and down on the car. Now I believe they have everything they need to put her behind bars for a long time. Next story. My dad owns this place. Hey Reddit. This is my very first post here, so if I do something wrong, please do not judge. This took place in China a few years ago. Please keep in mind that I am not the best in Mandarin, so I will try my best to translate everything. My dad owns a restaurant, and whenever I go back to China, I like to help out there. I did not work there, nor do I look like I work there. Side note, the restaurant includes places to drink tea, which is very common in China, and a bakery. I was at the restaurant one day minding my own business and greeting all the staff. Mind you that I was around 12, although my friends say that I look older than that. The waiters and waitresses were all in their 20s and wore a uniform with the restaurant's logo. As a 12-year-old, this event was traumatizing, and I remember most of the details because this event is inked into my brain. I was walking to the bakery when an entitled woman stood up and stopped me. We are going to call her Karen from now on.
I want my drinks half off.
She said it in a snobby tone. Okay.
Aren't you gonna do anything about this?
No. And she gets extremely frustrated saying,
aren't you gonna do something? I know the owner and I can get you fired in a quick second. You're an entitled waiter. Just walk around like you own this place. Who do you think you are? You filthy peasant.
Me, with tears in my eyes, I tried to tell her that I don't work here. Luckily, my dad heard the shouting and came down. What's going on here?
Who are you?
Mind you that my dad is very humble and only likes to wear plain t-shirts and old jeans. What did you say to my daughter?
Why do you care? It's not like this bothers you. You guys are just servants, while I know the owner. He can fire you in a heartbeat.
I am the owner, and if you look down at people like that, it shows that you are not a good person. Pay and get out of my restaurant. Then Karen whimpers and nods. Her friends stood up and went inside to pay, and they all left, glaring at Karen. Later, my dad told me that she was just an office worker who worked for my dad's friend's company. That explains the fake Gucci. and that she was fired immediately. Her friends or co-workers still come here often and never ask for discounts. Again, sorry for any mistakes. I was trying to keep this vague for privacy reasons. Next story. Karen wants a 14 years old me off the plane because I'm a dangerous terrorist. Throwback to when I was 14 years old. I'm a male, by the way. I had to go to Australia with my parents for my uncle's wedding, and to a 14-year-old me that sounded pretty cool. Little did I know I would be encountering a Karen on the plane. So my parents were going to go alone to the wedding because I had school and stuff, but turns out the wedding was postponed to May, which is summer holidays in my country. My parents' tickets were already booked and mine was booked later on, so if you are all wondering why I had to sit with a Karen in the first place, it wasn't my choice. Our seats were a bit far from each other, but I was okay with it. I sat next to Miss Karen and her toddler, who was asleep by the way. And Miss Karen was also white. I exchanged those fake salutation smiles, but she just stared blankly at me. I did not bother much and sat down and opened my laptop and played Purple Place on it. After a while of playing Purple Place, Solitaire and chess, I decided to do my summer homework. It was basically translating some English paragraphs into Hindi. I'm Indian, by the way. At this point, I did not think about Karen much, but Karen, then she scoffed.
What do you think you're doing?
My assignment? I'm a student.
No. You are a terrorist. That's what you are.
Wow, I was confused. Karen said to the air hostess,
Excuse me, miss. This is a very dangerous man. He is writing something in Afghanistan.
The hostess, who was visibly sorry for me, said, Ma'am, he's a child.
But he's Pakistani.
I'm Indian, and I'm just doing my homework.
Shut up, you terrorist.
At this point, this gentleman, Callum, steps in and goes full-on verbally attacking Karen. He called her out on her racism and called her stupid and an Islamophobe, alongside my angry parents who wanted to kill Karen, while her sleeping toddler woke up crying. It was total chaos. The air hostess reprimanded Karen, and most people of color in the plane were trying to strangle her with their eyes. To my shock, Karen decided to shut up. She did not apologize to me. The air staff apologized a lot for her behavior, and at the end they decided to give me an upgrade so that I don't have to sit with Karen. I was not scared, but really disappointed in Karen. My family and I thanked Callum, and the rest of the trip went well. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.